All right, ladies and gentlemen, this will most likely be the last video about Unknown 9 Awakening unless something major honestly happens. But at this point, I feel like this is the final nail in the coffin that everybody kind of saw coming for a video game like this. But according to this article from That Park Place, we have a headline that reads, Sweet Baby Inc. developed Unknown 9 Awakening sees peak player counts decline by over 40% in just the first week alone.
Do not go in there. Woo!
Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, this is not exactly very shocking information. I'm sure you're sitting there right now listening to me and thinking to yourself, well, we all saw that coming, right? Because at the end of the day, this game didn't exactly come out swinging, right? I mean, this game, I think, ended at like 289 concurrent players or something along that line. It didn't even get half of what Concord got, and we already know how that massive failure ended. But with this particular video game, I know I played this game, okay? Just so everybody knows, I played this game. The modern audience didn't play it, but I played it, and it was a trash fire, okay? There was very few things that were good to say about it, but ultimately it was a video game that belonged back in 2010, and even then it would still be outdated. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says Reflector Entertainment and Bandai Namco's Unknown 9 Awakening, which was developed by Sweet Baby Inc., has already seen its peak player count decline by over 40% in just its first week on Steam. I would really, I really wish, and I know I'm never going to get it because transparency in gaming is not a thing, but I really wish I could see the console sales, right? I really wish I could know what the sales numbers are for every single console game that ever gets released. I think it would be interesting information to see, but they don't ever release it unless they're doing successful, or they don't ever release it unless they are trying to convince everybody they're doing successful, right? We have seen iterations of this where they'll say, oh yeah, we hit 1 million units. That's fantastic, but your budget was 250 million. You hitting 1 million units, you're only at 1/4 of that, and you don't even get the full amount from that amount that you sold. So what are we talking about, really, right? And you see this happen all the time, and I've said it many times. There are so many issues happening in the gaming industry right now. It's not just DEI, it's not just ESG. There's so much greed happening. There's so much idiots in power. There's so many people that are in the top echelon of gaming that are just making terrible decisions that trickle down to the developers that all hate gamers, right? So not all of them, but most of them, they hate gamers, and it all just ties together and becomes this ridiculous thing known as the AAA gaming industry right now. Honestly, it's not even just AAA. We see it happen everywhere, AA and indie. We see it happen literally in all facets of the gaming industry, and it's quite unfortunate because we were in a time not that long ago where things were on an all-time high. We were getting all kinds of just absolute peak games, and now we are suffering and getting barely anything, to the point where this current console generation for PS5 and Xbox is trash. I don't know if anybody is actually happy with the current console generation. I know there are some games that are finally coming out that are halfway decent, but honestly, compared to what we were getting before in previous console generations, it's not even close to being entertaining. But yeah, besides that rant, I really just would like to know the console numbers, because if the numbers are this bad on Steam, I can guarantee you that the numbers on console are probably a lot worse, or at least just not better in general. So it says the game hit an all-time peak concurrent player count of 285. Okay, so I said 289, my bad. 285 on Friday, October 18th, but has seen that number consistently drop throughout the next week. In the past 24 hours, the peak concurrent players only hit 166. That is a decline of 41.7%. Now, I'm sure a lot of people playing this game are mostly streamers. I doubt that there's many people playing this game that are actually playing it to try to enjoy it. And also, you got to keep in mind that a lot of people playing this game have openly admitted in the reviews that they got the game for free because they got it as part of a purchase of an AMD GPU, which, again, nothing crazy or out of normal when it comes to stuff like that. I'm just saying that's the truth. So if you take away a lot of those free accounts, then you end up with a concurrent player count that's a lot lower than what you see on screen, which is already low as it is, right? Imagine what this number would have been without all those free accounts. It probably would have been like 180 something. I gotta imagine, maybe even less than that. It is really bad. These numbers look even worse after a number of reviews on the game on Steam indicated that they received the game, oh, there you go, for free with the purchase of a select AMD Ryzen processor, AMD Radeon RX series graphics card, or AMD configured systems. Wow. So, okay, so they gave this and Space Marine 2 for free depending on, what you bought. That's very interesting. Very interesting. But, at the end of the day, People can say, well, Space Marine 2 was bundled with it, so what's the big deal? The big deal is that Space Marine 2 had over 220 some odd thousand concurrent players. Most of that was not free purchases, okay? Most of that was not based on the bundle that was made with, processors and GPUs. You don't get to 220 concurrent by giving it away for free. It's very clear because Unknown 9 Awakening is at 285 or whatever the number is, and it had the same advantage, right? Consider that an advantage for your player count when it's given away for free with certain configured systems or graphics cards or whatever. That's an advantage. And clearly, all the advantages in the world didn't help Unknown 9. So it says dozens of individuals who reviewed the game revealed they got it for free. One wrote, "Thank you, AMD, for bringing PS2 graphics into the PC community." That's so fucking sad. It's true. In 2024, for inexplicable reasons, the game still runs 30 FPS at native 4K resolution despite using yours truly 7800 X3D and an RX 7900 XTX. Now, if you excuse me, I need to return to Imperium as I have yet to kill enough of those abhorrent Xenos for the Emperor. Oh my god. This man this person straight up said, you know what? I'm going to leave a review of your game telling you how I'm going to go play another game. That's just so epic, man. Another post that I got this game for free, and that is a good thing. Developers need to understand that every game in this day and age needs to have at least a somewhat good combat system, not make a dodge attack shit show like this is. I had at least a little bit of hope, ignoring everybody that was telling me that I wasn't looking good, and went into the game ready to be surprised. But here we are. Everything is so stiff and unnatural. It's impressive that they managed to F it up that badly. The premise for the story is actually somewhat interesting, but it was delivered so badly, it all just felt very empty. And all in all, just play anything. Listen, man, I got to tell you, he's on the money when it comes to the story. The story of the game is so bad, and you can tell there are like elements in there that could be really good, really interesting, right? Especially with the Unknown 9 and what they are and whatnot. But the way the game even ends is ridiculous. It ends on such an insane, ridiculous cliffhanger, and then when the game ends, you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, did I just go through all of this for it to get to here? Like, that's how you're ending this adventure? That's how you're ending this game? It is the weirdest ending that I've ever seen. But again, here we are. Trace Devils also wrote, I got this game for free and I want a refund on the time I wasted on it. Graphics are garbage. Combat is mediocre. Main character stares directly into your soul with no emotion in her eyes. Facts. There isn't much redeeming about this game, and don't waste your time or money on it. I agree. The way the characters are animated, they absolutely destroyed Anya. There is no doubt about it. Anya, her character Haruna is just really, really, really bad. And honestly, it's not just hers. All of them are bad. But unfortunately, you get stuck with the main character. So, don't turn the camera to her face, because if you do, she's going to look at you funny. And it's really weird. The game's poor sales is an utter catastrophe for both Reflector Entertainment and Bandai Namco, given the two were attempting to launch an ever-expanding landscape within the game. Yeah, that's not going to happen, right? Concord tried to do the same exact thing where they were saying, oh, yeah, we're going to have vignettes. We're going to have an expansive lore. We're going to have YouTube videos with stories and whatnot. We're going to have you fully engrossed in this world. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Reflector Entertainment will most likely either close down or do layoffs or get absorbed again into some way, shape, or form, sold off. Who really knows? But this was their first game, and chances are it will probably be their last. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.